Hello YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Modpack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. As always, we are joined by our lovely assistant, Zombie Steve, dressed in his thaumaturge attire. So, we have made some decent progress on Thaumcraft between last episode and this episode. So, can't remember if I showed this, but I did clean up our research area a bit. I put the beacon and the bookshelf and something else under the ground. I added this Workbench Charger. That's one of the things that we unlocked last time. So if we look at, is it this one? Oromancy. So the Workbench Charger basically allows the workbench to pull in the essentia or aura or whatever they want to call it, the V, from the surrounding chunks. So if we come here, we can see we've now got 943 available. So it's doing this chunk and the 8 around it are all available. And that has really helped now that we're getting into some stuff that requires 250 or 300 V to craft. So I made a couple of those. I got one here. I also made one, and it's over by my Ender portal at the Redwood Forest. It has a tendency to have higher V over in that area, so I think it's up around 1200 or some. But so the other things we've done are, I think we've made a lot of progress in the book. You can see we've got a lot. The fundamentals, I think, are done, unless a few things more pop up. I'm not sure. Oromancy is mostly done. We're going to try and get this advanced foci today. And then alchemy is mostly done. Artifice is looking pretty good. That could be completed, but I think I'm holding on to... No, I don't need to hold on to that, I don't think. So that's done. We got some magic mirrors. Those sound pretty darn cool. I might have to play around with those a bit. Need to do a bit more research on the research table. Infusion is a bit slower. We needed to... A lot of times when we're trying to do Infusion, it wants you the good research, theory research steps want phials of essentia, and to do that you sort of really need to be able to smelt it and get your hands on good stuff, which we are now able to do, which I will show you, but we haven't really been able to push on that quite yet. And then we've made some good strides on Golemancy. So things are looking pretty good. What do I need to do here? Examine brass. I gotta remember to figure out what that is. But, so let's take a look at the end of the last episode, we had just set up our infusion area. So now let's take a look at what we've done with smelting. So we're in our 13 by 13 by 13 compact machines. You can see I redecorated in here a bit. I wanted to fit more stuff in here and wanted to minimize the footprint of my Crucible area. So I replaced the 2x2 infinity water pool with a nice sized 864 bucket tank of water up there. And then shove this in the corner. So that's good. We've made the Thaumium Essentia smelter. So this one, instead of having 80% efficiency, in other words, if you put in 10 worth of essentia, you're probably only going to get 8 out. It now is up to 9. So put 10 in, get 9 out. We made some auxiliary venting ports, so we got 3 of those on to try and minimize the flux we generate. If we take a look here, we're only at 7, so that is good. And that's after, you can see I've done a bunch of smelting, and I've set up a bunch of jars. So just looking through here at Thaumcraft, if I just counted up these guys, There appeared to be 39 different types of essentia. However, Mythus does not seem to actually have anything. So the only thing that gives Mythus is Mythus and Mythus. So that's why there's one empty one here. But I did go ahead and try to, just grab stuff. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff out of my inventory and smelted up a bunch of junk just to make sure I had one of every bottle and got them all labeled. They're not too organized yet. I have the 6 primary ones: Air, Aqua, Ignis, Ordo, Perdicio, and Terra up at the top in alphabetical order. But then after that, they're sort of a mess. So now that I have all of them, which is what I did right before I stopped playing last night, I might try to alphabetize the other ones. But it's not that important, I don't think. I put a chest in here. I've got some more stuff. I've been using just various books that I don't need and various enchanted items to get a bunch of Precantatio, which is the little pink wand with stars on the end of it, because I know we need that. So we're up to almost, I think a full bottle is 250, and we're up to 244. So, let's see. All of these are void jars, so you can see here I get a lot of Terra as a byproduct. So this is 250, but it doesn't gum up my works here because all of these are void jars. You can tell by the purple lid instead of this brown lid. And so any extra Terra I get from my smelting still goes into this jar and just voids itself. If it turns out that there are ones of these that I want to keep more than 250 on hand, you can see Metallum is also maxed out. I put through a lot of leather armor, so like enchanted leather hats that I had used to cycle my enchantment table. So, some of these are maxed out. But if I decide I need more of them, I can always make more jars and put them down. So one thing I noticed here was that there's definitely some inefficiencies going on here. Now that we have the filling essentia transfusers, which are these little guys off to the side here, let's just grab something and put it in here. Something without too much Precantatio, like Blast Protection 1. So if I throw this in here, this is the burning of it. And then this creates a slurry here of stuff. And it all goes up into the alembics and then starts cruising out of this filling essentia transfuser, and it goes flying to its necessary buckets. Now what I'm noticing is that the slurry and the transfusers, the filling essentia transfusers, are fast enough that I never really fill up the arcane alembic and never really use any of these other alembics. Essentia isn't making it up into any of these top ones. So these extra filling essentia transfusers are not really necessary. I could probably have this one high with the void situation and not worry about it. If I decide, like for instance, now I am at 250 Precantatio, if I decided I wanted to not void things, then what I could let happen was, this would prevent, if this was a wooden lid, non-void jar, just a warded jar, if that thing filled up, then the Precantatio could go up into the other alembics and stay there while I continued to do other stuff, and then I could come back and grab that later. So it's not horrible to have extra alembics at this stage and extra transfusers, but that is a bit of an overbuild there. Anyway, we've got things going on here. So now if we take a look at why we were doing all of this, one of the main reasons was to get into advanced foci. So the foci are gems that you put into your... Oops, I haven't scanned it. Caster's Gauntlet. So basically your caster's gauntlet, you can put these in there and you can put all sorts of spells and effects on the foci and then put them into your caster's gauntlet, and then it can act like a ranged weapon or a mining tool or all sorts of crazy stuff. This is all very new. I don't think this was around the last time I played Thaumcraft. Trying to see where this stuff is. I think it's in Oromancy. Yeah, so it's all this stuff. So you can make it projectiles. You can take those projectiles and make them split. You supposedly can make them do things like track their opponents. You can split them between hostile and friendly. You can make multiple bolts shoot out. All sorts of stuff. You can do arcane mining, which can get you the fancy ores. There's just all sorts of stuff. Now we're at a point in this game where I don't really need any of that. None of this is probably going to replace my laser gun, and none of this is probably going to replace my Tinker's stuff. So I'm probably not too worried about all of this stuff, but it is pretty cool. And the next playthrough I do that is more magic based instead of tech based, I am looking forward to getting into this stuff. But one of the things we need to do, so again, to that point, since we are so late in this mod pack, and mostly just trying to close out our magic chapters, having focused way too strongly on tech for most of the game, I'm mostly just looking to do this stuff here. So we got to get a blank advanced focus, and we got to get a blank greater focus. So that's what I'm working on now, is just closing off this and just trying to close out some more of these things so we can get this chapter done. I think we're pretty close to doing most of this, except possibly this corner. So we're just going to push through this stuff. So the blank advanced focus, we need to do infusion. So this will be our first infusion that we try. Quicksilver I've got. Blank lesser focus I've got. Ender pearls and diamonds I've got. But this is why we had to set up this essential smelting, is that we need to have 50 Ordo and 25 Precantatio available during the infusion. So let's go ahead and grab those. Doink. I love that sound. And Ordo. Doink. So we've got 85 Ordo, which is plenty, and 250 Void, 250 Precantatio. So we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and head on out of here. So we need Ender pearls. I'm going to grab a few extra just in case anything goes horribly wrong and some of our components get destroyed. And let's see, what else did we need? We needed Quicksilver. I wish I could type Quicksilver. There we go. Let's see, is that everything? Ender pearls, diamonds, blank lesser focus, and Quicksilver, and the stuff. I think we are in business, and the sun is setting. So I'm going to pause here a moment. The other thing I wanted to do was try and set up. This is only going to be a minor instability thing, but I do want to try and set up a bunch of creeper heads and candles and whatnot around our infusion chamber. So maybe I'll go do that, or our infusion tool thing. So maybe I'll go work on that while it's dark, because I can always shoot away the guys, and then when it's light outside, we'll try our infusion. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so it is dawn, and through the night I fought off the monsters and set up a bunch of skulls and candles. This is my first time doing this, so I'm not sure I'm doing things right and if I have things in right places. So don't necessarily use this as a guide. Oops, I think I have 2 more candles and 2 good places for candles. Let's go ahead and put one there and one there. So basically just trying to do the thing of keeping everything symmetrical. So, I got the 4 red candles all symmetrical around the center, then some white candles. Those yellow candles, I got one on the diagonal to the left and the other on the diagonal to the left going the other way. Got the skulls in a similar pattern. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure how close everything needs to be, but we'll just slap down some essentia here. I don't think it has problems with line of sight either, but let's just put it right here and see what happens. So the thing we're trying to do here is turn our basic or blank lesser focus into a blank advanced focus. And so we want to spread out on pedestals things in the 4 cardinal directions. So we need a pearl, a diamond, and 2 quicksilvers. Did I bring 2 quicksilvers? Yes. So let's just go ahead and do that. So I'll use these pedestals as my cardinal direction ones. I don't know if there's a range that they have to be within. I noticed that in an attempt to sort of mimic my 8-pointed star tower, I did sort of bring my cardinal direction ones out 1, 2, 3, 4 places. Hopefully that's fine. But again, if not, we will just blow stuff up. So then I think we put that in the center. And I think we're good. I think we're all symmetrical. I think we have the right essence. We got the right stuff on the right pedestals. Now, I did watch a video on this. I'd never done it before, but I watched a video on this. I think it was probably a Direwolf or Mischief of Mice. And we do have to sort of be prepared in case any instability does happen. We might knock things off of our pedestals. So I got to be prepared for that. We might get taint, so I got to prepare for that. We might take damage. Not worried about that because I'm invincible, but there will be things to keep an eye on. Let's go ahead and break out our Caster's Gauntlet, which I think is what we use to start this party off. We'll right-click. All right. Things are going. Says it's stable. I have no idea how long this takes really either. At some point, presumably, we'll start seeing wisps of okay, now it's moved to very stable, so that's good. Sounds like my skulls and candles are doing a job. At some point we should hopefully see wisps of essentia getting pulled out of these jars into here. We're at 0 gain per cycle. So it's acting like maybe it doesn't have something it needs. Again, I'm not really sure. Oh, so I clicked it again, and now it's doing stuff. Alright, it's pulling in essentia. That's good. Our goggles that we're wearing allow us to see how much essentia it has. We're getting a 1.48 gain per cycle. Everything is still very stable. It's sucking in our components. That's good. And I think we did it. So I'm not sure how to get this out. Sometimes you need to use an empty hand to pick things up. Or maybe we need the caster's gauntlet. Eventually right-clicking did pick it up. I think I needed to click down on the pedestal as opposed to on the thing floating above it. Blink advanced focused. So we did it, and nothing blew up. So if we go here, we can complete advanced foci. And that's all good. Excellent. And if we go to the quest book, we can now claim the blank advanced focus. Now it wants us to make a greater focus. I'm not seeing that necessarily off the top of my head in here. I'm not seeing a recipe for it. Not seeing it pop up anywhere here. So I'm a little concerned about that. See what's in the loot box. Status upgrade. Alrighty. Let's see. So let's take a look at this again. So it wants us to make, the quest book wants us to make a blank greater for focus. When we click on it, we get no recipe for it, so it's probably not unlocked in the Thaumanomic. But I think we've unlocked almost everything here except for this. So I don't know. Maybe when we continue investigating other stuff and making other stuff, it will allow us to, it will open up another recipe for us. So I think the next thing we want to do, again, we're just trying to hammer our way through the quest chapter for Thaumcraft. I think this corner is going to be a little hard. Elementum should be easy. I just need to do that. Or Crucible, Golems. We could try and make a Golem. So here it wants me to make a Great Wood Golem frame, a blank seal, and a Golemancer's bell. So I can try and work on that. This I should be able to bang out, I hope. Don't know, apparently I do have this unlocked, so that's good. This should be easy. Focus pouch. That's where if you have a lot of different foci, so we've just made a blank advanced focus. You could have multiples. You could have a mining focus and a pew pew shoot 'em up focus and other stuff like that. You can have multiples of them and then keep them handy and then swap between them. So I think what I'm going to do here is pause the recording and just make as much of this garbage as I can and close as many of these quests as I can, and then come back and give you a report on what I have accomplished and what our next steps are going to be and show you what I made. So I will be back shortly. Okay, so I am back with a few important safety tips. So the first important safety tip was that I was making some alchemical brass by throwing a bunch of stuff into my Crucible, and I actually threw my good hammer into the Crucible, and it ate it. So I spent about 15 minutes making a new hammer and getting... I had to get some experience levels anyway, so I did some mining. The good news is that I had everything I needed. I had osmium for a handle. I had plenty of mats for reinforcement and putting luck 3 back on it. Really, all I do with my hammer anymore is use it to teleport to and from my base downstairs, and to use luck 3 to break draconium. So I made a replacement on that real quick, and so that was about a 10 or 15 minute setback. The other important safety tip was I was making the Golem Press, and so if we take a look at that, so that's on this page. So that's this structure, and I wasn't sure, what way it needed to face or anything, but I got the iron bars and the cauldron and the piston and the anvil and the stone table, and I threw them down in this corner and thought, okay, cool. And so I logged on here and saw that to make the thing I need for my quest, which is a great wood golem light frame, I needed some machina, some great wood planks, some simple arcana, yada yada, and a clockwork mind. This had me sort of paranoid because it didn't have a red X through it, so I thought to myself, is it going to try and convert something in my inventory into this? So the only thing in my inventory that I really had was my, with machina on it, was my time in a bottle, which that reminds me I should bring it back out of my backpack, and I didn't want to eating that since it has machina essence on it. But I put in the great wood planks, the simple arcane blah blah blah, and all the red X's went away. I hit this and nothing happened. Not a damn thing happened. So then I got all paranoid, and I thought, okay, rather than trying to figure this out myself, maybe I better go read up on it. And I realized that yes, indeed, you actually do have to supply it with machina. And one of the reasons I didn't notice that is because the import for the machina is back there. Although now that I look at it, you might be able to just set a jar here. I don't know. Bottom line is that it needs machina, so I went and grabbed my machina jar from my pocket dimension and put that up, and fortunately that worked. So all of this stuff had disappeared from my inventory, so I was like, oh crap, do I need to do something with that? But we now have a golem. And now that I've got this out of here, I was afraid to break this multi-block structure and potentially lose my simple arcane mechanisms and clockwork minds. But now that I know how this thing works, I will break this multi-block structure and set it up in a way that we can easily get machina into it. Although we might be done with it. Again, I'm not looking to build a whole bunch of golems. I'm just looking to finish our chapters. And we can now claim this. And that is complete. So we may not use that thing anymore, but so there's your safety tip. So I'm going to grab my bottle back, and I'm going to get my pipes back, and I'm going to repair my wall. And then we will continue on in our wondrous journey. I wonder what happens if I break this. Let's find out. Oh, so it does go back to the individual pieces. And I can pull that up. So for right now, I'm going to leave that pulled up because I'm not 100% sure I even need to make any more golems. That's going to be it for now. But wonder if this guy does anything. Oh, hey, look. It's a dude. Can I pick him up, I wonder? Or just kill him? Aw, I didn't mean to kill him. Alright, well, anyway, there's our excitement. We have made a golem. So, what are we on to next? So, I'm still going to try and bust out this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And I'm still not exactly sure. I'm still not seeing any recipe or any unlock for this. So we'll have to figure that one out. But let me continue on and try and bust out more of this Thaumcraft chapter in our quest book. And I'll come back with any more important safety tips that we might run into, or any problems or things to watch out for. Put this back before I forget. And I have, I gotta go. I left my Ordo and my Precantatio out at my infusion station. So I'm gonna go recover those before I forget too. But I will be back in a moment to let you know how far I got and if I ran into any more problems. Alright, so we are back, and I realized that I had to make this demonic matrix for the Thaumatorium, which is a multi-block structure with a crucible with a couple of the alchemy constructs on it, clicked with Salus Mundus. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us. One of the next things I need to make requires some elementum and yellow nitor, or nitor in general. So I thought I might as well make this multi-block structure since I had just destroyed my hammer, and this will be a safer way for us to make that stuff. So I am, at the moment, just filling up my jars here with the stuff that we need. So I now have a bunch of, we need potentia, which I now have a bunch of that. So we can grab that. Let's see. We're cooking up some Ignis to fill that jar up. This is a pretty damn cool mod. I haven't really been focusing on Thaumcraft, and I'm going to be paying it short shrift here in this run through, just because, you know, I've gotten to it so late in the game that I don't really need a lot of this stuff. I'm just trying to bust out the chapter. But it is pretty darn cool. So we're just going to fill up these jars a bit, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and mark the spot on the floor where we can throw them down and hopefully get this figured out and working. So we'll just let this finish up. The other thing I like about this is, in addition to not actually potentially throwing a vital piece of equipment like my hammer into the crucible, but it doesn't apparently require water, so that is also nice. So how are we doing here? Got the last bit of Perditio coming out into our Perditio bottle. We've got some Lux on us. We're going to need some Ignis, pardon me, and we're going to need this. And let's see what we can do. So first thing we want to do is I need to make at least 2 more nitor. So if I look at this, it requires potentia, which we've just put down, Ignis and Lux. So Lux and Ignis. So there's our Lux. Oops, and it auto-populated Perditio on us. We want Ignis. So I've got all of these, as we can see here, the little knobs are very close to the pipe. So I've got all these closed because when I was reading about this, it says you do have to do something in certain orders. So, all right. Whoops, that's not what we wanted to do. So what do I do here? I don't know. Let's see if it accepts recipes from here. No. So maybe I put in what I want to change. So let's see, I'm going to be making Nitor as, I think, glowstone. Yes. And then Elementum is, I think, coal. Yes. So let me go grab some coal, and I forgot to grab those. So we'll jump out here. Grab some glowstone. And grab some coal. I need some more for my smelter anyway. And back we go. Alright, so maybe now if we put the thing we want to do in, I only need, let's make 6 Nitor. I don't know what this means. Oh. I see. This is the possible, these are the possible results. And you highlight one. And then that's the essentia that you're going to need. So we're looking at needing 60 potentia, which we have plenty of. 60 Ignis, which we have plenty of. And 60 Ignis. So Ignis, Luxem, potentia. I think we're good to go. Oh, is it going to spit it out there? I may have this in the wrong place. Let's see what happens if we do that. Alright, so now what do we get it to do? I guess we just start opening the valves. So I'm going to assume it's left to right, top to bottom. So let's open the Ignis Valve first. It is sucking up Ignis. Good. Maybe it doesn't need it in order. Maybe that's an old thing. Let's just try turning it all on at once. See what happens. Well, it took the Lux second. Alrighty. It's just doing its thing apparently. And where's the Nitor going? Oh, there I have Nitor. Pause a moment and see where the Nitor is spraying out of. Ah, it is spraying out of the bottom one. I did have a correct spot to begin with. So now let's see if it'll go in there. There it goes. All right. We are in business. Look at that. It's not super fast. There may be ways to speed this up that I'm unaware of. But it beats the heck out of doing it by throwing stuff in the damn crucible and dealing with water and dealing with waste and potentially throwing gear you didn't mean to throw in your crucible, in your damn crucible. Alrighty, so we now have that. So let's continue on. We want now some more elementum. I only have one. I need at least 4. I'd rather have 8. So let's see, we want to 10 Potentia again, 10 Ignis again, and now 10 Perdicio instead of Lux. So we'll pick that up, and we will throw down our Perdicio jar. Okay, and so we'll do that. Make sure I still have enough. Yeah, I got more than 60 there. I got enough there. Enough there. We want to make that. So I highlighted Elementum and unhighlighted Yellow Nitor. So I think what this mnemonic thing does, lets you highlight more than one recipe at once. So if you're doing some sort of combinatory kind of thing, or trying to make multiple things at once. And actually we do want to make a 7th of those. Unfortunately we don't have enough. Let's see if we can actually get Ignis to go over to our Ignis jar. It should be within 16 blocks. It'll be coming out the wrong side. But yeah, is it going there? Oh no, it's filling up a new jar. Oh well. I'll go ahead and grab a phial. I have my phials out already. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright, where are we at here? We've got 7. I gave it enough to make another. So let's give it one more coal. Alrighty. Well, that's definitely much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and replace my vials over on their wall. It must pick the closest empty and or labeled jar. But that's alright. I'll just use a file to transfer it over. So we'll put this back here. Ignis goes there. And Potentia goes anywhere. Perdicio goes there. Lux can go there. That guy has 76 in it, so if I put 4 more Ignis crystals in there, it'll be 80, and then I can just use a file to transfer that 80 over into my jar, and I'll remove that empty jar so that doesn't happen in the future. Alright, so I'm going to pause here. We're trying to make, the reason we're making this stuff is we are trying to make these bad boys. So I did the research and got this opened up. So we need the 4 Nitor to make one of these, and we might make 2. Because you can put up to 2, I think, in there under your infusion thing, and then also we have Elementum necessary for the other guy. So that's what I'm trying to make. So I'm going to make those and check what kind of runtime we're on and fix that situation, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, today I'm back, and we bashed out a few more things. Bashed out the Everfull urn, a focus pouch, We got this Thalmic Dioptre, which apparently will show me the either the. Let's see if I right click on this. So there it shows me the chunks in the area, what their aura levels are at, and there it shows me what their taint levels are at. So that's sort of cool. So we busted out a bunch of stuff. Got our infusion speed and cost stones. So basically we're just down to the Blink Greater Focus, which is not showing up anywhere. There's no recipe when I click on it in the quest book, and also it's not showing up anywhere here in the infusion thing. So I'm probably missing some sort of research necessary to make that visible. But then if we go back to the quest book, I was able to make a void seed. So talking about that for a moment, I'm not into mystical agriculture yet, so I don't necessarily have all this stuff, but it took all these essences, and I was able to, since we've got a bunch of Supremium essence from our Wither Boss farm, you can take that and just turn the Supremium down into Superium, turn the Superium down into whatever's next, Intermedium, and so on. So I was able to get plenty of all the essences. And when you go follow that rabbit hole all the way down, I also have plenty of prosperity shards, and so was able to make a base crafting seed. So that was good. So I was able to get that unlocked. However, they now want us to make void metal, armor, and ingots. And when I look at this, the only recipes I'm seeing are standard ones, not how to make it, but how to turn it into blocks and nuggets and smelt it, etc. Or recycle it. So I'm probably missing a tab here because I probably have not unlocked void metal in the Thaumatorium. And I also don't see where that is. So that's another one where it's like, okay, I must be missing something. Probably, maybe once we start unlocking more of this stuff, the Thaumium armor stuff will sprout up to the side here somewhere. We might also need to take a look at I can knock out this material studies for brass and see if another thing pops off to the side. That seems to be mostly just Golem materials, but anyway, bottom line is, between this episode and next, I'm going to keep pushing on with unlocking things in our Thaumanomicon here to see if I can unlock or figure out how to make the Thaumium, or the void metal, I should say. And we'll keep trying to push on this to close, or come close to closing, this Thaumcraft chapter. We're getting there. The end is in sight. And we have a lot of the apparatuses now available, so that's nice. For instance, when I went to make the Everfull urn, obviously throwing 30 worth of aqua and 10 worth of Fabrico into a Crucible sucks, but it was real easy to just hook up 3 bottles to the Thaumatorium and pump that out. So that kind of stuff is now much easier. So yeah, I'm going to hit the research table and try and figure out what we're supposed to be doing with all of this stuff. And we will move on from there. Let's see what happens if I hit uses for this. Crimson Rights. Alright. Dangerous. I think I actually got some Crimson Rites from killing some of those cultists that come through the portals in the Mesa. Crimson. Yeah, I already have some of those. Cool. Don't know what they're used for, but cool. Alright, anyway, that's the plan. Great progress was made, and we'll just push on and see if we can button up Thaumcraft. And if not, I think we are at a place now where we can make all of the things that we need, like the Thaumium and other things that we might need to go back into Botania and Astral Sorcery and start progressing in those now again. So if I run into any stumbling places where I can't figure out how to make void metal, or I can't get any more research done and things aren't opening up, maybe we'll just bounce back to Botania and Astral Sorcery for a bit and Blood Magic, and circle back around to try and cap this Thaumcraft chapter off once we've made progress in those. Until next time, goodbye and thanks for watching.